Hi, this is Omar Farooq from Republic, and you're watching me on Fuchsia Magazine.
Fuchsia Magazine is in Lahore और हम बैठे हुए हैं इस वक्त रिपब्लिक उमर फारूक के साथ इस वक्त at his gorgeous office इस वक्त हम बैठे हुए हैं उन्होंने हमें टाइम दिया thank you very much.
You're most welcome.
And so let's start with your this space.
It's a small space.
It's done up very nicely. I love the piche ki art piece, and so tell us something about yourself, and let's start with all this.
Well, I'm Omar Farooq. I started Republic about 11 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was a passion project back then. When I came back from abroad, things were very different in Pakistan.
Acha, okay.
Like, there weren't a lot of options available for menswear.
For menswear.
At that time.
Yes.
So I thought, okay, why not start something which would be more, intuitive to specifically for men.
Men.
Because all we had at that time was probably just men's store, which sold good stuff,
Yeah.
but the prices were pretty much out of the reach for most of the people.
Okay.
So the idea was to start a niche brand. Initially, that's how it
Okay.
started. A niche brand that would cater to all needs and all sorts of men in Pakistan.
Okay.
And also, not only that, but also guide them through the right way, like
Okay.
how to wear, just basics of how to wear a suit, or how a suit is supposed to be cut, or how a suit is supposed to be worn.
Bilkul.
So all of this was very important back then, and I won't sugarcoat anything, but we went through hell the first
I'm
3-4
sure.
years of our
I'm sure. वो तो कुछ भी स्टार्ट करते हुए उमर ऐसा ही होता है कि
Yeah,
आप
but
कुछ स्टार्ट
I-
करते हो बहुत होता है एंड ऑफ कोर्स आपका एक वजह के मेंस वेयर के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से बहुत चीज़ें टफ होंगी उस टाइम पे बिकॉज इट वाज एंड अभी भी इट्स मोर ऑफ वुमेन
Yeah. It is still.
is.
No, it is still.
Yeah.
Back then, we didn't have social media. We didn't have a lot of other things that actually helped us initially to build a space or build a market.
Okay.
We were solely relying on either marketing for whatever however that we wanted to project our brand. And to be very honest, I think initially we weren't even sure that what is the right direction for the brand as well.
Okay.
So it was more like a trial and error for us
Okay.
as well.
Okay. Okay.
So there was a lot of hit and misses. Magar, if you have to compare menswear to women's wear, primarily, even internationally, I think women's wear would probably take over 80% or 75% of the market. In Pakistan, probably even more than that. But things are changing now.
बिल्कुल.
You'll be surprised at how many men are actually now, I would say, evolving into a slightly different connoisseur of a species.
बिल्कुल.
Which is good to see, because
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
not the kind of a market that I had about 11 years ago when I started.
बिल्कुल आप सही कह रहे हैं men are now are
More
definitely more conscious and they want to know what they're wearing and they वही वाली चीज़ है कि जैसे हम as women हम
Instagram
करते थे
has
now
really
it's
helped as well.
and social
Because
media.
social media, Instagram, I feel like there's a lot of influencers out there all over the world.
Yes.
I don't want to say anything negative about influencers because they do help us or
Yes.
help the community
Yeah.
or the fashion community as well to
Bilkul.
grow. But also there's also a downside to being an influencer, because I feel like everyone thinks that they can become an influencer.
Yes.
Because it comes easy, but I don't think it should be like that.
Yes.
And it isn't.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
it's not an easy job to do.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. और जैसे अभी हम कल ही किसी से बात करी तो उन्होंने बोला था कि इट्स स्टाइल एंड चीज़ें ट्रेंड हर चीज़ एंड व्हाट इज़ योर टेक ऑन दिस कि हर चीज़ फॉलो करनी है या आप अपना कोई बिकॉज यू हैव टू बी कंफर्टेबल इन व्हाट यूर वेयरिंग. इट्स नॉट कि अगर आपकी शॉप में कोई आ रहा है और उसको वो चीज़ कुछ पहननी है, हाउ डू यू गाइड दैट पर्सन?
That's actually a very good question. Unfortunately, most of men in Pakistan would be slightly out of shape.
Okay. Yeah.
If I have to politely say it. But see, that's the whole thing. Being
Yeah.
out of shape, giving them what would fit their body type is a challenge. So when someone comes to us, we don't just see what can we sell it to him? We have to also analyze what would look good on him.
Yeah.
And that's the sole reason why Republic has become such an influencing brand as well, and such a coveted brand, throughout in our society or in our communities, because we actually take care of our clients. We
Yes.
take care of their needs, and we look for what exactly they want. Sometimes they would come up with things that would be a lot easier for us to sell. But I've trained my staff, and I don't see clients now, but for 8 years I've seen clients.
Okay.
And that was my job, to actually represent the brand as well. And I used to see clients, sometimes 20 clients a day as well. And I would always make sure that I give them my honest opinion. Because let's say that a guy comes in with a picture, that's what I want to wear.
Yeah.
He already knows what he wants. So my job is already done. I can just get rid of that, like tell him, no, this is going to look absolutely perfect, wear it.
Yes.
He'll pay me, my job is done, and I can see the next one. It's just like seeing a patient after
Yeah,
a patient.
yeah,
But that's not what I did.
That's not-
I gave every client 100%.
Bilkul.
And that was part of me. Sometimes I would disagree with them and they wouldn't be very happy with the choices that I was making for them. But eventually, when the trust develops and they actually go with the flow, with whatever that I feel would be the right decision for them, I think I have made a mark when it comes to that.
Yeah. So इसका मतलब है comfort level है between you and the client, and वही जैसे आप कह रहे हैं, it builds up. लोगों का आराम से trust factor start होता है कि ओके उमर ने हमें बोला है तो ये सही नहीं लग रहा होगा, नॉट के पिक्चर में है तो हमें पहनना है.
शुरू में तो नहीं था,
ना?
बिल्कुल नहीं था. लेकिन मुझे अब फील होता है जैसे मेरे 11-12 साल के स्ट्रगल में अब in the last couple of years, I would say that I have finally earned the trust of.
So that is what a brand is, and जिसका नाम.
I'm surprised that sometimes now kids. Obviously, I'm almost 40 now. When I started the brand, I was a lot younger.
Yeah.
Things were different. My vision was different. Now I see the brand evolving in a very different way as well.
Okay.
So I feel that now I've earned that respect. And it sometimes makes you feel a lot happier or satisfied from inside, but also puts me on the edge that how long can this last? Because nothing's forever.
Yeah,
how long can I prolong this?
Yeah.
And so it's always good to feel what would be the next step for you.
Yeah.
Never be complacent of what you already have. Okay, it's good. Okay, Allah ka shukr ada karna chahiye in every way.
Bilkul.
But always try to look forward for something else as well.
Definitely.
Never stop.
Never stop. Okay. So I'll touch base on color palette now also. कि वो एक होता था कि नहीं यार pink नहीं pink, and it was always grays and blues and all. Pink कोई पहनता था. I remember my father-in-law used to wear like pink shirts, and I'm like शुरू में I was like oh, and my mother was like pink पहन लिया उन्होंने, but नहीं. अब I will say, I don't want to say it out loud कि नहीं उनका रंग ऐसा है तो pink खिल रहा है उन पे, so it was a thing now, but now people. There's no color palette.
Like real men wear pink.
Yes.
That's what they say.
Yes. So now it's no more of that. शुरू में पहले कभी था.
अभी भी थोड़ा बहुत होगा, ऐसी बात नहीं है. अभी भी the conservative Pakistani man is still there. It breeds in us. It evolves within us. But everything has its process.
Yes.
Everything has its procedure. You won't see a huge change or a shift in a society which has been confined for so long. So everything has to be done in a process. I feel now men are exploring with colors, but still the traditional menswear colors, which is black, blue, and gray, are still, I would say, the most popular demand.
Yes.
But I would say about 20% there is, or 30% there is a change.
Okay, and what would you say about for people who just stay on one color palette? They
Like
just want to stay, black, and they just want to stay on earthy tones. So how do they, like, I know somebody who does that, and they're like, but whenever, so whenever he changes also, I'm like, you did change, and I'm like, oh, okay, but then there is what tips can you give to people who stay on one color palette?
I think some men, see, that's the difference between a man and a boy. Some men, when they evolve through their life, and everyone evolves differently. We all have our own stories,
Yes.
our own journeys as well. So some evolve in a way that they feel a lot comfortable wearing black. Let's just
Yes.
pick a color black
Yeah.
because I think it's the most popular
Yeah.
universal color for
Yeah,
men.
yeah.
And they end up making their style within black. As long as they're making an effort, I have no issues with that.
Okay.
Like you actually go and buy something which
Yeah.
would look, let's say that owning 20 different black t-shirts and owning 20 different types of black t-shirts,
Yeah.
or maybe in different cuts, variations, or patterns.
Yeah.
See, that's where I would get intrigued with that human being,
Yeah.
because now that human being is
Yeah.
actually giving more time
Yeah.
to his own personal style. And I like human beings or men who have a specific taste, because then it actually tells you a lot about them. I've seen people who are more in tune towards earthy tones. They stick to more towards camel, beige, whites, and
Yeah.
off-whites.
Yeah.
I personally love those people because for me, black is safe, it's good.
It's safe.
Even my personal choice for more like my own personal clothing have now become more towards black in the last few years. I was someone who would wear colors all the time, but I don't know why now I'm slowly transitioning towards, maybe it's, I don't know, maybe that's my journey of
Yes.
evolution of how I see
Yeah.
it. But people who are more inclined towards earthy tones, I personally feel that they are more in tune towards life and towards the nature itself.
Yeah.
And I feel they're a lot easier to deal with. They're a lot easier to be with as well.
Okay.
So to actually guide someone who is more into earthy tones is a lot easier for us, for someone like
Okay.
us. Yeah, that's what I feel.
Okay, all right, okay. What tip would you give women who come up, if women come up to your store and they say कि जी मुझे अपने किसी loved one के लिए जी मुझे कुछ लेना है. So what is something that you can tell them? How do you
Actually,
guide them?
a lot of women shop for men.
Yeah.
Because men normally they don't have time, they're at work,
Yeah.
or maybe they're too lazy. I feel women have better choice than men when it comes to this. They have little experience, but they have better choice.
Better choice. Okay.
So when they come to us, we try to guide them as well
Okay.
for what would look good in a specific way, because they have their own specific mindset. Okay, that's how they want to see their brother, father, husband, or whoever. तो उसको भी थोड़ा सा जरा मोल्ड करना जरूरी होता है.
Yes.
Because otherwise they'll only think in a very safe manner as well, which would just be like यार बस ये white shirt 2-3 trousers आप ले लो, or the husband would be very happy to
Yeah.
wear them for like a few months. And
Yes.
but now I feel again, since how the society is evolving, I think the women are also evolving at the
Yeah.
same time. They are also comfortable seeing their men more conscious about themselves. I think from our father's generation, or probably in our generation,
Yeah.
women were not that comfortable seeing men look after themselves that much, because it was considered more taboo. It's more of a women's job to do, not of a man's job to do.
Yes.
But I think that taboo has finally,
Yeah.
it's breaking.
It's breaking.
And now women, they've accepted that, a man can also take care of himself. There's no harm in being a, whatever, proverbs that we
yeah.
use for like metrosexual ho gaya, however that you want to put it. But I personally feel it's your self-care. It
Yeah.
can come through wardrobe,
Yes.
health, exercise, or whatever.
Okay. So styling tips अगर आपने किसी को देनी हो, like for men, बहुत सारे लोग under suits, as you said कि सूट के भी बहुत सारे cuts होते हैं, and I see कि आप लोगों के हैं, मतलब कि they're different cuts. तो shoes is one thing that people I wouldn't say वो सोचते नहीं हैं, but वो एंड वक्त पे होता है कि ओ बस कुछ भी पहन लेंगे, मतलब कि is that
No, I think that part is changing.
It's changing,
yeah,
huh?
yeah.
Huh.
Shoes have finally prevailed in Pakistan. Now, see, there's a catch to it.
okay.
Men are now really focusing on their shoes, for sure.
Yes.
But they don't want to spend a lot on their shoes.
And shoes are expensive.
Shoes are expensive.
Yes.
Shoes can be actually more expensive than your wardrobe.
Yes.
So that idea, that frame of mind still does not exist in our society. So an average shoe price should not go for more than 5 to 7,000 rupees. A luxury shoe price cannot go for more than maybe 15,000 rupees. And it's very hard to actually achieve or get the right kind of luxury product within that price range. But I feel कि ये चीज़ आहिस्ता आहिस्ता grow करेगी. But in terms of designs and shoes,
yes,
in the last decade, I've seen a huge change, and I'm very happy about it because पहले तो एक linear direction थी कि बस वही pointy जूते Aladdin style,
वही.
But that is now changing.
Okay.
And it's definitely changing.
All right. Okay. And then at your store, do you have shoes? Do you recommend?
Yeah, we do.
जब आप styling करते हो तो you do tell them कि अच्छा ये shoes के साथ जाएगा, because that is a full outfit, yeah.
Most men actually still get confused between a driving shoe and a formal shoe.
So 90,
the driving shoe जो moccasins होते हैं जो without laces होते हैं.
Oh, okay.
You call them driving shoes.
All right, I didn't know that.
You can call them anything that has the rubber sole at the bottom has actually no leather sole and no heel. Is actually considered a driving shoe. So that is something that is probably worn with shorts or probably on a week out. Or when you're driving to anywhere, or just on a weekend when you're with your family or with your kids, but you can't wear a driving shoe at your wedding. So people actually don't know the difference, and 90% of them, they actually buy such shoes, and they want to wear it with suits. And my advice is always to actually guide them that that's not how it's supposed to be done. So अभी भी ये problem हमारी सोसाइटी मेंसवेयर में है.
अब इसी तरह आपने एक बात की तो मुझे एक थॉट आई, ख्याल आया कि अबाउट नो शो सॉक्स. People have different views of that, and what do you think?
I think it was very trendy about 6-7 years ago. I think the trend started somewhere from, Milan being the main trend, or Paris being the main trendsetters at that time. Now I feel the tide has now shifted towards Tokyo and Seoul. That's what I believe, that Asian countries, even Singapore, Tokyo, Seoul, Hong Kong, I love Hong Kong, have far better fashion sense, and they have evolved a lot faster. The conservativeness that you get in Europe, because Europeans are far more conservative. Americans are not conservative at all, but they don't give a dash when it comes to dressing in a certain way, because for them comfort is always more important. So the world is basically divided into 3 different directions. So the one direction comes from Europe. Europeans started that thing, which is the no sock shoe style, which is good. Everyone did it, but there are days and there are ways of doing.
So I was just going to ask do's and don'ts on that, if you could.
Okay, so the do's and don'ts, I would advise that don't ever do that when you're wearing a suit. If you're wearing a suit in a daytime and you're out and about in a summer day somewhere abroad, even here, it's a good to go. But if you're at a wedding of your best friend or your brother and you show up with no socks and a short trouser which is ankle length, that's a no for sure. Because when you're at an event, which is when you're expected to wear socks and you go in without socks, it's good to slap sometimes in the face of how the hypocrisy of fashion works, but no, I don't go with that flow.
All right.
Definitely.
So is there, so that's a don't. So what's a do for that?
As I said, like in Pakistan, I would say that in shalwar kameez, under shalwar kameez, whenever I wear shalwar kameez, I wear moccasins or loafers, and I don't wear socks. In summers, in winters, I also don't wear socks depending on how cold you get. If you're feeling cold, then probably I will. But I tend not to wear them if I'm wearing shalwar kameez, or let's say if I'm wearing just a casual shirt with a button-down casual shirt and linen. Mostly it's summer, I would prefer not to go sockless. If I'm wearing formal trousers, which are more slim, slightly ankle length, so I would not wear socks in the daytime. But at the night time, if I have to go to an event, or if I'm at a dinner party, or let's say if I'm at a restaurant, I would still prefer that I go with socks,
With socks.
because it's more presentable.
Yes. Okay. So, Abhi, when you were talking about Europe and style and all that, so your inspiration of any of your collection, do you go back in, what's your inspiration? How should I put it? Yeah.
Initially, it came a lot from Europe.
Yeah.
It came a lot from Milan. It came a lot from Paris. I traveled a lot in the last decade. And I feel my energy and my presence in my business, ये सारा कुछ traveling की वजह से ही हुआ है.
Okay.
If I wouldn't have traveled this much, because that's my prerogative, or that's my personal belief, that for some reason when Pakistanis, specifically the average Pakistani, when they travel, not pointing fingers, we don't necessarily go there to actually observe. We go there for a certain period of time, still keeping our roots where they are, only hanging out with your own community or your own society. I feel that confines a human being, because otherwise how would we have evolved for centuries and millions of years? Like,
Yes.
how would you? Life is nothing but trial and error. You have to constantly learn or observe. Sometimes you learn from observing. So when I go abroad, I observe.
Okay.
My favorite place of all time would be a cafe in Milan, which is called Cova.
Okay.
And I've been going there for the past 11 years, or maybe a little more. I think maybe 12 years.
Okay.
I go there. I used to go there a lot before, but now it's been some time. Just sitting there, it's in the center of Milan.
Okay.
From Via Monte Napoleone to Via Veri and Della
Okay.
Spiga is right in the center.
Okay.
And you can literally view an entire encyclopedia of fashion in real fashion, which is like real men, real human beings, and real women,
Yeah.
relationships, families, life, people with jobs, all sorts of jobs, businesses, and they're all dressed to kill.
Yes.
And there's a funny story to it. There's a very famous influencer,
Okay.
a blogger on Instagram. That person I accidentally bumped into about 6-7 years ago, I guess, in
Okay.
Milan, and I had to take a picture with him. And I asked him. He couldn't speak much of English, but whatever that he could explain. His personal style was always very I don't give a damn.
Okay.
Like the way that you would see him, it would feel like he just put on whatever that he could find in his
Okay.
wardrobe, and they just accidentally look absolutely perfect. Instead of a man who would actually sit and decide, okay, that's how I want my beard, that's how I want the face to be, I want my hair to be like this, and I want my shoe, like someone who's too trim and proper.
Yeah.
He's like the complete opposite of that.
Okay.
But he looks absolutely perfect in every way that how he would present himself. So I asked him, like, how do you do this? He's like, I spend 3 hours a day, every day in the morning, to look that I don't give a damn. So basically, he's making up a look
That's cute.
every day that how can I look completely effortless.
Yeah.
So the right word would be effortless. So his effortless chic comes in 3 hours of himself.
effort.
Exactly.
Wow.
So you need to put effort into everything. That's the point of view.
And that's true. हर चीज़ में effort जब तक आप डालोगे, effort will show definitely. So यही जब आप देखते हो वहाँ पे, जैसे मिलान के कैफे में बैठे हुए आप देख रहे हो, observe कर रहे हो. So you put your thoughts together on you used to write down, you used to sketch.
No.
How did you like come up with ये मुझे next करना है?
I have an extremely photographic memory, which is scary to
Okay.
a whole other level. I never forget.
Okay.
I never forget how the person was dressed. Even just one glance of a human being, I'm constantly just observing a human being, constantly. Not in a negative way. Not judging another human, but I'm constantly driving whatever energy that person has.
Okay.
Good, bad, whatever. I don't care. It's my job to take that energy and convert into something. So let's say you're earthy stone gray with that mustard yellow shawl that you've done.
Yeah.
maybe this entire combination would just click in my subconscious and it'll stay there. So the moment I'm doing something, and it would just come out, and maybe I will do something in those color tones. So you will, and you have probably inspired me today, right now, to do something that I'll probably do maybe next year or maybe 3 months down the lane. That's how it works.
Wow.
Even looking at an artwork, looking at anything, looking at color combinations, how it's presented, I never forget. So they go back in my memory, they stick in my subconscious. So when I'm cognitively thinking about something, they somehow come back automatically. And it's like I'm looking at a movie, and it's like a puzzle being put together. And I don't know how I do it. I don't know.
Oh,
it's just natural.
That's talent, yeah. So okay, wow. What do you think of fashion weeks, first of all? And if you could change one thing of fashion weeks, आजकल तो खैर sadly हो भी नहीं रहे हैं, but yeah.
One thing that I would change about fashion weeks?
Yeah. जब होते थे और जब होना शुरू होंगे.
I love fashion weeks.
Okay.
I'm a person who suffers from severe anxiety. Not a lot of people know this.
Okay.
But I can go through badges of severe anxiety all of a sudden. So I have this fear of, I have stage fright as well. Apparently, I don't know, every time I go up, I'm able to speak is surprising for me because I have extreme stage fright.
All right. Okay.
And that's the reason I'm always behind the camera rather than in front of the camera. I don't get very comfortable with fashion shows as well because I hate going on the ramp. I hate that process of going and waving and all of that when thousands of people are actually looking at you. But I like the work being appreciated when the models walk the ramp and there's a crowd over there. I think it's also a rush, an adrenaline rush as well, that whatever that you've done, whatever that you're doing, is actually being appreciated, runtime, live. I would have more buyers probably come in to the fashion shows because that's how it's supposed to be.
The bloggers and
no, bloggers could be there, everyone should be there, but the buyers should be there, like retailers. We don't have retailers in our country. I mean, we do, but those retailers don't really sell designer wear. They sell designer lawn or designer unstitched women's fabric, but they don't want to invest in menswear like that. So I think that aspect of fashion shows should probably evolve soon.
Okay.
I think so.
All right. Okay. So we'll wrap it up over here. But आप जाते जाते हमें कुछ बता के जाएं about your next upcoming collection. What is Republic doing these days?
Doing something. We're doing a lot of interesting things. Actually, we are in the middle of launching a new product for men. Okay. It's a really interesting product. When it comes to men's shalwar kameez, there's not a lot of options that we have unstitched men. Stitched men, maybe we have J. Dot, Almira, and Amir Adnan, and they're doing a fantastic job as well when it comes to retail fashion. Yeah. But I feel like there's a huge void because there's either Pasha fabrics, which are literally top of the line. Okay. They produce the best quality. So it's a collaborated progress. It's a collaborative project as well. This we have a local manufacturer. Okay. And we have finally cracked the code how to make a higher quality, let's say 120 double, an 80 double, or maybe eventually we'll move up to a 200 double as well, maybe a triple ply cotton as well. And that's where we start now, is to start a Republic fabric entity which is specifically designed for men. Okay. And they needs to wear shalwar kameez. Shalwar kameez in our society will always be there, no matter how fashion forward we can get. This particular entity will never go away. Okay. Yeah. People give gifts on weddings, on occasions, they receive gifts, and shalwar kameez is one of the most prominent options that we have in our society to give as an unstitched fabric to any other person. So this particular project will launch by the end of the month, inshallah, and by next year we will go towards distribution and retail. So it's a new baby, it's a new thing that we have picked up, Our website is also
Okay.
revamped recently, and that is doing really well. We have finally put in a lot of new products, and we're focusing more on retail all of a
Yes.
sudden. Our main bread and butter was always custom made, which is always going to be there, but our ready to wear was suffering in the last few years. But now we're slowly putting and pulling that back
And
up as
pulling
well.
back. And as you said शलवार कमीज़ की, तो मैं ये I just want to add on कि शलवार कमीज़ अब लोग वैसे नहीं होता कि ओ किसी डिनर पे भी जाना है. It's not कि वो ख़ानदानी फैमिली डिनर पे जाने ओकेजन पे जाने शलवार कमीज़ निकालो, वो ईद के ईद निकलती थी. Now it's more people are wearing
It's
it
regular
more.
wear. Like in
people
summers,
yes.
people wear it on regular basis.
Yes, yes, definitely.
All you need to do is give that higher quality fabric that
Yes.
Pasha is giving, which is, in my opinion, the
Okay.
best manufacturer
All
that
right.
we have. So the target is actually to compete with that. And let's see how well we can.
Yes, inshallah you will.
Inshallah.
Thank you so much for your
You're
time.
most welcome.
And all the best for this.
Thank you.
Thank you.